Welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and I know it's a rough ride. The Star Wars movie is 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
This is Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
Heather Antos back with you at Heather Antos on all the things.
Welcome back, Heather. Thanks for finishing out not only the week with us, but the boxed set of the first 100 episodes of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Minute 100. It starts with Rey buzzing the tower, and it ends with Allegiant General Pride saying, use ion cannons. He's ordering everybody to use ion cannons. And we know that he's been with the First Order, Last Order since the Empire days. So do we think that he knows? He's like, oh, this will get him. He's been sitting on that for years. He's like, remember on Hoth when they shot us with the ion cannons and that messed us up? Let's hit them with the ion cannons. Everybody's like, dude, like, you're the only one who's still alive from that.
They took so many of us.
Yeah, exactly.
It is weird that they don't use ion cannons more frequently, considering they seem very useful to be able to knock out the electronics of a ship. You know what I mean? It seems like every ship should have an ion thing on it. But
maybe they use a lot of power. Maybe, I don't know, from the ship.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know the mechanics of all that. I will say this minute does start off with one of my favorite Star Wars sounds of all time, which is that like warning, right? Alarm.
Oh, the Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
we're gonna crash into each other.
It's just one of the most iconic. That and the TIE Fighter scream, right? Like those two are like just some of the most iconic Star Wars sounds, I think.
Yeah.
That just whenever I hear them, it's always like ooh.
Have you heard anything? Do you know anything about what that is? That just a regular boat sound?
I have no idea. That's
a boat sound.
Yeah, it's just a boat sound. No, that one I don't know. I'm sure it has some interesting or mundane backstory. Who knows? Not
true.
Me.
Right. Again, I've said it before, but I would love a just purely, could be a Disney Plus series. I originally, I think, said it as a panel idea, but I would just love a Disney Plus series or a YouTube series, even short enough where it's just like each one is just people coming up with a sound from Star Wars or Empire and going to Ben Burtt and being like, what is this? And you'd be like, oh, well, I did this and this and this. Like, I could watch that nonstop.
That would totally be a great TikTok. You just hear you show the shot and you hear the sound,
and then you see the audio engineer
doing whatever it was.
The audio engineer, the Foley. I love like the Foley artist videos on TikTok, like that little stuff. That's so fun. Yeah, it's so fast. I could watch that for days on end.
Yeah, it's really fun stuff.
Well, the other day I saw there was one where they were smashing a guitar against a car door. But they had here's how we do that. And they don't smash a guitar against a car door. It seems like that would be a relatively easy thing to recreate. But no, they're doing it so they have a car door in the studio and they have a guitar and then they have some scrap wood and they just kind of bang something against the car door, strum the guitar real quick and then throw the scrap, or maybe they throw the scrap wood against the car door and then strum the guitar real quick as they do it. I don't know.
Well, as you know, Pete, a guitar hitting against a car door doesn't actually sound like a guitar hitting against a car door, which is why they have to recreate it that way.
Soup it up a little bit.
Sweeten it. There you go. There's a shot. I feel like we don't talk about particular shots all that often, but there's one shot in here that lingers for 8 seconds. I counted it at home of the Star Destroyer fleet just sitting there. And I was really baffled as to why this was an 8-second shot. Because
it's terrifying?
I guess so. I guess, it's just trying to convey but I don't know. It seemed odd to me. Like a very static shot to last that long.
Is that a longer shot than the shot of Rey walking in that weird path thing? Because that felt like a very long shot, too.
I mean,
I don't know which. Yeah.
I guess our shots are slowing down a little bit because we're building up for the climax.
Maybe.
Right? They wanted to get. I just knocked stuff over with my excitement. because we just had like everything's getting ready, and now it's like we got to slow it down a little bit so we can build it back up.
Yeah.
But
wait, slowing things down in this movie? What?
Well, relatively. 8 seconds.
They're like, it's minute 100. We need to let them breathe sometime.
Yeah.
All right, this shot will go 8 seconds, not a second longer.
You sure they won't get bored? Yeah, it bugs me for multiple reasons. One, like, you're going to have this, I get what they're going for and making it a spooky place, but like, if you're going to have a shot of all the Star Destroyers, like, have it be somewhat visible. Have it be easy to tell what you're looking at instead of just kind of here's a bunch of shapes against a dark sky and a thing, and it's like, you can tell because they've got that distinct outline, but it's like, I'm going to be a lot more impressed if I see like a bunch of if I can see that there's a bunch of Star Destroyers versus like, there's a bunch of shapes that I'm pretty sure are Star Destroyers here because everything's dark and we get it, but I think we could have had a little more clarity, a little more resolution there. But the thing that bugs me more so, and this is not something I would expect to see at all by any means, but it just bothers me that they're all kind of in formation, but they're in formation all facing the same way, and it really just leaves so much negative space that I just want them to be stacked, like alternating, you know what I mean? Like, you could just put those together and you could fit so many more Star Destroyers in that space if you had some of them facing the other direction.
But again, the without the navigational tower, right? They don't know what is up or down, so that they haven't shot that navigational tower out yet. So that's how they know which way to point, so.
Then it should have been a jumbled mess. I feel like it should have been like a Trader Joe's.
But they haven't shot it down yet. They haven't shot it, so they know which way's up. Right. And Palpatine is holding them with the Force again, and he likes. Right. He's a very specific way he likes things.
I get it.
Exegol question.
Yes.
So we see Rey land, and she's walking. Are there cities and are there?
No, it's just a stadium. It's just that like weird.
The whole planet is just a one arena there. That okay. There you go. That answered my question.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well, she parked in the lightning lot, just like Kylo Ren did before.
They both park so far away. Why do you park so far away? So you can get out quicker, I guess.
Stealth.
Yeah.
Well, and you got to pay. It's premium parking on that side. That's a whole extra upcharge. So it's just
she's a Palpatine. She should be able to. She should have an executive spot right in the front.
Not on the list.
Oh man.
She didn't. Well, she didn't kill him yet, so his spirit isn't in her body. So I don't know if she would.
Right.
So she's not technically a Palpatine. She's still just a.
She's still just Rey. Just Rey.
Just Rey.
That's when she went. She's like, I think I'm on the list. It's under Rey. Like, Rey who? Like, just Rey. Like, no, sorry, lady, I don't.
Heather, what do you think of Rey taking on the Skywalker name at the end? This will happen after your purview, but just
I haven't seen that many yet, so I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, I hate it personally. There's a lot of in Rise of Skywalker, what I like to call like, wouldn't it be cool if moments, right? And they're like the sitting around the lunch table at school and like pontificating different cool shots that we'd like to see in Star Wars. And I think that's just kind of what this whole movie is a bunch of those wouldn't it be cool if moments back to back to back, where there's no real thought about what these moments are or the implications they have on the overall story or impact of these characters. And what made Rey so cool and so interesting and mean so much to a lot of fans is that she was just Rey. She was just this lonely scrapper on Jeddah who came from nothing, who came from nowhere. And I think that's kind of what made Luke interesting originally too. He was just this moisture farmer, without all the pressure of the legacy, family and background and all of this stuff. And so they kind of did a double whammy with Rey, where not only is she, a Palpatine, but now she's like, no, I want the chosen, and I'm all for chosen family and all that stuff, but like, I just think she's so much cooler as, no, I am just Rey, and I don't need any of that. I'm my own person. You know, I have the yellow lightsaber, and I'm going to start this new thing without any of that crap that that both of my families really
Right.
got all caught up in. And yeah, I just think it erases a lot of the impact that she had.
Yeah. It's, you know, we've heard from both sides of there are some people who really love that part of it, that she, you know, is reclaiming her, you know, or, you know, attain, you know, or, you know, she's proactive with her identity and whatnot.
No, and I do like that. I do acknowledge that, but also I want to be like, you know, Anakin was a Skywalker, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like one's not really better than the other in the long scheme of things.
She should have said she should have specified that she was naming herself after Shmi Skywalker.
Yes, right? Of course.
As far as we know, is without sin, but now, quite literally.
Have we ever met Shmi's parents in any of the ancillary
There were
materials?
no parents. There were no parents.
That's how they do things.
Yeah, that's the problem always, is that once, like, I feel like by having Shmi be like, oh, there was no father, it's almost like there's nothing past me that's going to be of any interest here. Like, this is, we're trying to make this a cutoff point where you don't have to think about any of the people who are Shmis. Maybe in the High Republic we'll see some. Yeah. So
I do like, though, what I do like about There Is No Father, that means it's the matriarch's name for the Skywalkers. Right. That is one thing that is, you know, it's Mama's name they're passing down.
Are there any do we know in Star Wars, do we ever see someone take on another person's name after they get married? I mean, we don't see that many weddings, I guess. The only person we really saw get married was, or we are aware that Han and Leia got married, but they never refer to her as, although Ben is identified as
Skywalker,
Solo.
So. Ben Solo, yeah.
But then, Padme she was never like Mrs. Padme Skywalker.
Yeah, you never hear about Padme Skywalker.
Yeah.
You never hear anyone
you get
by that name.
No, but the children seem to get the father's name because Leia Organa and Ben Solo. So, so we get Anakin Skywalker getting it from the mother.
It's especially funny in the case of Ben Solo because, like, his mother is this, like, queen of a planet, head of this big thing. And I don't know. Let's name him after the car mechanic guy who just happened.
Also,
you know what I mean?
this isn't really his last name. It's just the last name the Empire gave him.
Well, some Imperial scrub came up with on the fly to get him through TSA.
Yeah. Do you think did they discuss it, Han and Leia? Was it just assumed that he would get the name? Did they toss a coin?
Nope, it's on his card now. This is what it is. Ben Solo.
You know, there's probably a whole, like, she might have had, like, a whole disagreement with Bail over stuff, over, like, what, like, I don't know.
Well, and also she's adopted too. Not that that's you know, that's doesn't make any difference, but, you know, anyway.
Well, yeah, that goes in with the, you know, with Rey choosing her own heritage, choosing her own destiny, rather, regardless of her heritage. But yeah, interesting.
That's one of those weird things that where the prequels and the original trilogy don't quite match up to me. It seems messy to have that conversation between Luke and Leia in Return of the Jedi, where he's like, "Do you remember your mother?" And she's like, "I just remember her being real sad." Yeah. Obviously, that is supposed to be her biological mother that she's referring to when she wrote it, but now it has to be, oh no, it was her second mother who died. Like, that's a redundancy of dead mothers in the storyline. So, why did I bring that up? I don't remember, but
I probably won't name the episode of Redundancy of Dead Mothers, but it's a good name. I don't want to scare people off. But.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we see Poe is flying through the red honeycombs, and I was shocked to see R2-D2 in his hole there. What's up with BB-8? R2 has never flown with Poe before. Is it just because they wanted R2 to be there? So they're like, okay, let's put R2 in the...
We've kind of, like, not let R2 do anything this trilogy. We should, like, really... R2's contract, his agent is just like
the Kenny Baker estate. They put all that money into buying R2D2.
Yeah.
They might as well put him in there somehow. That has to be the reason, right?
Yeah.
That is odd.
There's no in-universe reason for why they would.
Or maybe Oscar Isaac was just like, no, I want to fly with R2. Maybe maybe it could be
last chance.
Maybe as mundane as like, no, I wanna do this thing.
Or they are setting up that in the future, BB-8 is Rey's droid now.
Yeah.
And Poe is going to get R2.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just like, wow, Poe's just giving it. He's giving his jacket to Finn. He's giving BB-8 to Rey.
Yeah.
Well, so his method of
because we're doing it together. We're friends now.
He's very generous, Poe.
Well, I was going to say it's like he's doing it to like, oh, I gave you my jacket, therefore like you're included. Like he's like you're my property kind of.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. If you were good people, you would know that.
Does Finn still wear his jacket? I don't even think to look. In this movie, is he wearing Finn's jacket, Poe's jacket the whole time?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
That seems kind of...
Because they wouldn't be able to sell a new toy. They have to change the uniform so they can sell a new toy.
They could have done like battle damage or something on it. Anyway, you're right.
Poe's got a little scarf. Finn's got his hair is a little different. And he's got a couple of things. I don't know if he's wearing the jacket though.
He's wearing a jacket. I don't know if it's the jacket.
So now, go ahead.
As they're flying in, and Poe says, "Stay locked on Rey's course." And it took me a second because I was like, "Stay locked on race course?" Like, I thought they were doing but no, he said Rey's course.
That's when the Fanthiers come running out to join the battle. That would have been a good callback. I was going to point out that at long last, I've been teasing it all week, but this is where we finally find about that ship that was a
not an
we thought was a yes. It says here in my notes that it's page 180. Okay, here we go.
Please turn in your Star Wars visual dictionary to page
if you're using the Star Wars visual dictionary, here is by New York Times bestselling author Pablo Hidalgo. Anyway, here's the ship that they're flying, and you can see it has a little. It's hard to make out where the it has a thing that's a lot like it. Oh, here it is. You can see it up.
Oh, kind of up top. Right.
It has like a little. That's the part that's like detachable, and that flies in and goes into the ship. Anyway, that is Fortitude, which is a rebel ship that is
Fortitude.
That's what I call Fortitude.
Fortitude is what I call it.
It's normally flown by Captain Kanunda.
Oh,
okay.
And Lieutenant Dune. I assume that's a reference to the Frank Herbert.
Lieutenant Dune.
The two noteworthy things about Captain Kanunda. She is played by the actress Andrea Diak, D-I-A-C, and the character's name is Drianna Kanunda. So it's a kind of Tuckerization of the... no information on the actor who plays Lieutenant Dune, her co-pilot, but it does say that Resistance staffers whisper that the relationship extends beyond the professional.
Oh.
So there you go. A little action going on there in the Fortitude. I don't know why Finn is in there. I guess that's the only ship that's left, because the Falcon is not part of this.
No, the Falcon's off doing its own thing, and then obviously you can't have multiple people in an X-Wing. Yeah, so Finn just gets to be on a thing, and he can't really fly. You know, and so he just gets the scraps.
Well, he'll get to ride a horse soon enough. But
well, speaking of Finn, while we're talking about him, I was just trying to look up Dune and see if I could find any other information about him. No luck. Dune, also known as Dune. Why doesn't Finn need a helmet? Everybody else has got helmets. Finn's sitting there like just chilling, no hat on, no helmet, no nothing. Everybody else is like Snap Wexley had to go get a helmet out of a box to put on. Everybody else is ready to go, and he was just like, I don't need it. He was like, I wore a helmet for too long. I'm not wearing it. They're going to see my face this time. Like, what?
Maybe he cares more about his hair than everyone else. Maybe he's like, no, guys.
That could be.
I'm not going to flatten this hair out.
It is weird, the situations where helmets seem to be required and do not seem to be required.
But,
like the Falcon, no one ever wears a helmet on the Falcon.
No one ever wears a helmet on that. And I feel like, if you crash your X-Wing, like, helmet or not, you're not surviving that. Like, I feel like there's very few scenarios in which, like, a helmet is truly necessary. I guess if you're, like, because I know they're trying to make them look like fighter pilots, right? Like that's what they're going for. But have we ever seen like the chairs where they like the escape, right? The escape eject, yeah. Like in an X-Wing, I assume theoretically they have that, but I don't know. That's the only reason, right? If you eject and parachute down, I think where a helmet would be necessary.
I think any research into that leads to disappointing contradictions and things that it's like, oh, I'm glad that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
So
fair.
But I mean, maybe it's because it's closer quarters. Like if you're in a cockpit, like, you got like pipes and stuff like right here. So maybe you can bang your head. It's to prevent you from banging your head against the windshield and stuff like that. Whereas like the Falcon is a lot more luxurious, roomy kind of cockpit, or like, and maybe the pilot of the what is it called? The Exodore? What's
Fortitude?
The Fortitude?
Just Fortitude, not the Fortitude.
No, not the Fortitude. They have to keep correcting everybody.
The Fortitude's totally different ship on a different job.
But the little ship, maybe the pilot flew the little ship up there, and then everybody got on from the other spot. So they're all in big roomy cargo areas, personnel areas where they don't need a helmet because they're not going to bang their head on anything. But the pilot had just flown it up there in a smaller cockpit, so I don't know. This is me grasping at straws.
I assume that whenever they show someone wearing a helmet, it's because they want kids to wear helmets when they ride bikes and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
You want kids to buy helmets.
Like they have to show Rey wearing a helmet in the X-Wing because then if they're, when they go on the bike, they're like, Rey didn't wear a helmet. I'm not going to wear a helmet.
I don't think that's why they're doing it. No, I think it's...
I assume that was the case.
No, I think it's because it looks cool and to sell merch. Like...
Okay.
Here's something that I don't know why I'm asking it. Since BB-8 is not in the X-Wing, could BB-8 be a helmet? How much of BB-8 is how much is in the ball? How much is in the head? If you put if let's say Finn was in here wearing a Spaceballs style helmet that had BB-8 on top of it and he could go around it and still be part of it, would there be enough of BB-8's can BB-8 get around without the ball part?
He's already around.
Is that all add-ons?
He is around.
He is around, yes. What's your story, Roundy?
I think I would say the computer, the memory, the brain is probably all in that head portion. Mm-hmm. And then all of his gadgets and the mechanics to get him around is probably in the ball part. So
like accessories and stuff.
Exactly. Like his thumbs up flamethrower, mm-hmm. Very important.
Thumbs up. A lot of it's hollow because he shoots about 55 coins out of it.
That's true,
yeah.
In the last
he's like Mary Poppins' bag. It just opens up to the world between worlds in there. That's just
it's infinite.
Right.
You could climb inside BB-8 and live in there if you wanted to. It's terrifying though.
Right. Like Oscar's trash can. Same idea.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oscar Isaac's trash can. He just kept throwing stuff inside of BB-8 and it just disappeared. He's done with his lunch, boom, throw it on BB-8.
It's like Doctor Who. You guys love Doctor Who, right?
Love it. It's my favorite.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But yes, I do want to see BB-8 as a helmet.
I'm sure they have.
In what context?
I'm sure they have. I need to look this up now. BB-8 helmet.
Need is a strong word.
BB-8 helmets exist. Ooh, so
nice.
There you go, and you can buy it for your kid.
How much? Only kids? They have adult extra large?
Well, this is from Walmart. It's the first thing that popped up, but it's a BB-8 bike helmet for $23.50.
Oh, bike helmet, huh?
Yeah. So there you go.
It's like they want kids to wear helmets.
There you go. I shared it in the chat so everyone can see.
Okay, good.
It comes complete with the antennas, though, which I think is a very important.
That's nice, yeah.
Is it functional at all? Does it have a radio in it or something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Instead of a radio. Is it from the 70s?
Well, I don't know, like something you put in
some
this.
Bluetooth functioning.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
I meant Siri. I meant like Sirius radio. I didn't just mean regular radio.
Yeah, NPR. Are you getting NPR?
Right, yeah.
I want This American Life in my BB-8 helmet.
Need my kids to be listening to podcasts while they bike around the neighborhood.
With a liberal agenda behind it.
Yeah.
That's the only, that's why.
Preloaded with Terry Gross.
They should do a episode of NPR, but have it be about in the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to be interviewing Max Rebo, who has a new jazz album out, and that kind of stuff.
I think we should cut that out. That should be our money losing idea.
There you go.
Cut that out too. Cut that out also.
It'll be like Bang Bang, but in Star Wars.
Yes, exactly.
But yes, Finn doesn't need a helmet. That was my last note for 100. Anybody else have anything? Or Heather, is there stuff that you are sad you missed, or stuff you want us to look out for going forward?
I don't think so.
I know you're overall not really a fan of this movie, but are there parts that you do like that we already skipped over?
Probably not. I have, being honest,
Fair.
I hate this movie a lot.
How many times did you see it?
I saw it once and then these 5 minutes a second time.
Wow.
So I read the script once. So that's been my exposure. I literally slid out of my seat onto the movie theater floor when Rey and Ben kissed. My soul left my body during that moment.
Not in a dreamy way.
No.
You weren't like, you were just,
No.
That's good. You beat the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Beat the traffic.
I did. I like I said before, I can't even remember if it was today's episode or yesterday's, but like there's a lot of like cool ideas in this, and there's a lot of really cool visuals in this film, the lightsaber duels in this film in particular, the environment shots, seeing the destroyed Death Star and all of that. Like there's some really, really cool visual moments. But it's so many ideas that you just do not get the pacing or time to let any of them sink in before moving to the next 20. And that not that I think there's 2 movies worth of arcs in this film, but I really, this is one where I'm like, maybe there should have been 2 films. Maybe this should have, I don't know.
I've suggested that a couple of times. I think take one movie to wrap up the sequel era storylines, and then have another movie to wrap up the whole saga to bring everything together.
Yeah, to do the Exegol and Palpatine and all that. Yeah.
I wonder if there was any temptation. I mean, because this was right around an era where there were a lot of like Harry Potter split the finale into 2 episodes.
Right around the era, we're still in it. Have you seen Mission Impossible and Fast and Furious, this Spider-Verse?
Right. So I'm surprised. I wonder if there was ever any thought about dividing it up into 2 different movies.
I'm sure that was shot down. I'm sure Disney would have wanted that and allowed that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, Kathy, JJ, like Lucasfilm proper was like, absolutely not. We do this in trilogies. This is what we do.
They're like, everyone's going to hate no matter what we do. This is where they're only hating one movie instead of hating 2 movies.
If there ever was a film that was so obvious they didn't have an actual script when they started filming, this is, it's pretty obvious. So yeah, no, I remember watching it and like you see the opening scene and then they go to the next scene and then they go to the next scene and then they go to the next, it keeps going. And like when it hit that 4th scene without a moment to like breathe, I would remember being like, oh, so this is just the movie, like this is just what this is. Okay, we're in for it. So yeah, I don't know, in my head, Rise of Skywalker does not exist. I'm still waiting for the 9th episode to come eventually. I'm sure it will, and when it does, it'll be great. And until then, I think think this film will satisfy a lot of other people.
Fair enough.
It'd be interesting if because they're planning on making new Rey movies. It'd be interesting if how much they can basically make it kind of agnostic of the ones that came before it. Like how much of it they can be like, oh, you didn't like Rise of Skywalker, just pretend it didn't happen. You didn't like Last Jedi, pretend that didn't happen. Just kind of like make some kind of weird, kind of mushy amalgam where nothing is directly referenced.
And it's like, I would have been so stoked if you told me they were doing a Rey film like after TFA or Last Jedi. I would have been so stoked for that. But like now, when they announced it, I laughed. I mean, how many films have they announced in the last 5 years that we have actually that have gone into production? 0. So, and not to say I wouldn't watch it and wouldn't be excited for it. I absolutely would. But like it was a Star Wars Celebration where they had nothing. They had no big announcement. They just announced, the Taika kind of stepped off. The Lindelof, well, he's not involved anymore. Patty Jenkins, well, that's not happening. Like they needed something, especially when there's no Star Wars film slated.
Right.
They needed something, and so I don't know if there's any truth to this or if this was just a hype moment just to have something for the celebration. I don't know. I hope we get actual news for their plans in the next year, because it really feels like, oh, we're hitting Endgame. Do they actually have a plan for what's happening next in the MCU? Like that's kind of where it feels in Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
It's funny if they go with what you said, Pete. That's almost ironically that will be the kind of the way when they started the sequels. They were like, we are not going to refer to the prequels at all. They're not going to be referred to at all. And now, of course, they're kind of slowly. Now the prequels are very, hot right now because of, Ahsoka and various other shows, the Obi-Wan series and so on. So it'll be interesting to see how they'll be able to thread that needle of not referring too much to the sequels.
Right.
But
still making it so I think they'll just have it, you'll know enough about what you need to know from the context, and it won't reference too many specific things. Yeah. So
we'll see.
That's my safety plan for them.
I mean,
I want to let them know.
If you look, TFA, if you had never seen the original trilogy, TFA still works and it's a super fun, good film.
Yeah.
And so they can do it. It was, if you did watch everything else, of course, there was so much to love and it hit the nostalgia beats, across the board. So I think if they, do something in that regard in some capacity, it could be really, really cool.
Fingers crossed.
Who's the new main character's great grandparent? We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, Heather, thanks so much for hanging out with us this week. Sorry to make you watch minutes of a movie you hate, but we appreciated your commentary and your insight.
Thank you for having me. No, this is always super fun, and if you had asked me to do every single minute of Rise of Skywalker, I would have happily done it for you guys. Well, I don't know about happily, but I would have done it for you guys. I would have done it.
Well, thank you. That's always a pleasure to have you on. We'll keep you on file because we may have some projects coming up too. And so, speaking of projects, anything in particular you want people to know, look out for that you're associated with, or you want them to just bask in your presence?
Yes.
Move on.
Not to talk about the other Star franchise, but these days I spend most of my time working on Star Trek in the comics world. So if you're at a comic shop, definitely check those out. So Star Trek comics are a lot of fun. We got some Eisner nominations this year, which was pretty exciting. And a franchise first, Star Trek has never gotten an Eisner nom in their 57 years of comics history. So that was really cool to nab the first 2 noms.
What era are the comics set in?
All of them. So the main series, the flagship book, is basically the sequel to Deep Space Nine. So we brought Benjamin Sisko back from the wormhole. And we're currently in our event, the Klingon insurrection, known as Day of Blood. Kalas has been pulling some genocidal crap all over the galaxy, and Sisko, who's captaining the USS Theseus, and Worf, who's captaining the Defiant, which he stole, by the way, from Starfleet. They're not happy about that. Is off to try and stop him.
Worf.
Yeah. Oh, Worf.
That Worf.
But we're also doing tie-ins to Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks. We did, Picard, Discovery, all that stuff. So Mark Guggenheim just did a really great motion picture era comic for us.
I was about to suggest that as a joke, but if it's real, I'm going to go buy it.
It's real. It just finished out. Nice. It's called Star Trek: The Motion Picture Echoes. And it's a very Uhura and Chekhov centric story. So if you like those characters, definitely check it out. Yeah. Oh.
I had to reach down on the floor to get this because it's.
Oh my God! Yeah, there you go. So if you want the burlap sack uniforms, we got them for you. So.
I do. Well, everybody go. We've got a warm relationship. There's no need to be just like there's no need for antagonism between fans of different Star Wars movies. There's no need between different franchises. We like Star Trek here. We're all big fans. So everybody go check out the Star Trek comics. And in the meantime, hey, we talked about it, I think, a week or two ago, but check out Alex Robinson's comics, too. Because remember, he does comics, and they're great.
They are.
Some of my favorites. So
I recuse myself.
I forgot what the link that we set up for it is. Maybe StarWarsMinute.com/ well, I set one up last week for Tricked, so start there. StarWarsMinute.com/Tricked. Go there. And then look at all the other stuff that he did, and it's worth it. Buy it, read it, and we'll see you next week here on a brand new Star Wars Minute.